Interesting question. How to see my negative qualities as prasadam? First prasadam is there is no negative quality. Don't condemn yourself. I am no good. Do you exist? What will you say? Do you exist? You cannot say no. Even to say no, you have to exist. Yes. That means you have a role to play. You have a slot. He knows better. So there is nothing negative. There are certain improper way of thinking. That improper thinking is because of some pressure. Past, my experiences, my values or likes and dislikes, or you can say unconscious. That has created this. It's okay. It's also an order. This is how the creation is. This is how the Lord has made the mind. If it was given like this, it will think like this. Full stop. How to see as a prasada? First look at it as order. And that's an expression of the Lord. That doesn't mean you express that prasada also. Generally prasada is sweet, okay? Nowhere prasada is bitter and hot. They always give laddus. How to neutralize these qualities, so-called negative qualities, so-called improper thinking? Pray. Seek help. You are helpless to your own mind. The mind doesn't take permission. Will you mind if I come? When this thought doesn't ask you, it just lands up because of some unconscious problem. Either process it out objectively and get free, whatever it is, and analyze it. Viveka. If you are incapable, do something else. Okay? Get out, grow out of it. Does a Brahmanistha need to do karma? If yes, why? See, please understand who is a Brahmanistha and what is a need to do karma. Need to do karma is twofold. One, desire prompted. I want, let us use cabin pressure prompted. I want it. That pressure pushes me to karma. I don't want it. That pressure also pushes me to get away from it. So, need to do karma arises out of desires. Nobody tells. Sometimes nobody tells us to do, much less you are expected, but there is a value, pressure of likes and like so many senior citizens in India. If you tell them, come to classes, how can I come? Why can't you come? I have a grandchild at home. But it is their child. No, I have to look after. Who told you? I have to look after. And when you talk to daughter-in-law, Swamiji, take her to class. She is spoiling my son. Need to do karma. I have to do that. Nobody asks. I have to do this business, achieve this money, establish this. Who told you? I have to. I must earn this much. Who told you? Veda doesn't tell you, nor Guru tells. Right? Either one type of karma need to do is desire. Second is, need to be done is duty prompted. This is your duty. You must do. Please understand. These are two types of need to do karma. Who is a Brahmanistha? Look at this. Brahmagnana means what? He or she knows that I am Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahm. I am limitless. Limitless means complete infinity. That infinity is something where there is no lack. Like famous verse of second chapter, Sthita Prajna section, Apuryamanam Achala Pratishtam Samudramapah Pravishanti Yadvat Tadvat Kama Pravishanti Sarve Sashanti Mapnoti Na Kama Kama. So the fullness is like an ocean. The fullness of an ocean is like infinity. Infinity is something which you cannot improve upon. Infinity plus infinity doesn't become two infinity. Infinity multiplied by infinity doesn't become infinity square. Infinity divided by infinity doesn't become one. It is still infinity. Similarly, billions of cusecs of water is poured into ocean in monsoon. Heavy rains all over the world, and suddenly ocean comes forward. Sea beach houses are drawn, doesn't happen. Cannot be improved upon. Plus something is same. Minus something is also there. Suppose there is drought and the ocean goes beyond, away, and the shore becomes larger. Thank God it doesn't happen. Otherwise in Bombay they will build houses. By the time next monsoon comes, there is apartment there. They will create that. It doesn't. So that fullness of a wise man, that way. So desire prompted actions are not there, which can improve his or her fullness. There is no need to do this. I must have this to be happier. I should not have this to be happier. Anand. What is Brahmanistha? The one who knows himself to be Brahman. What is Brahman? Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manneta tattvavit. Pashyan, Shunvan, Spushan, Jikran, Naschan, Gatchan, Swapan, Sushan, Pralapan, Visrujan, Unmishan, Napi. Naiva kinchit. There is no sense of doership. And doership is because of Upadhi identification. There is no kartrutva. And there is no identity of kartrutva. There is no duty. Veda says, Brahmana must do this. Either Naham Brahmana, Naham Kshatriya. It doesn't apply to me. That kartrutvam not being there. There are no karmas to be done as a duty. Bhoktrutvam not being there, there are no karmas to be done as a desire prompted karma. So there is no need to do. Understand? Still, he may do. For what? Loka sangrahat. Lok kalyana. Out of empathy, out of compassion, out of just to help, or out of his or upadhi prakriti, he may continue. But that action is not for self-gratification. That action is not for self-contentment. It is for samashti kalyana. Like Bhagavan telling to Arjuna in the 3rd chapter, he says, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kincha. Nana vaptam vaptam. I have nothing to do, nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Still I do. Why should I not do? I will. He does it. So, wise men may do it or may not do it. Understand? And if he or she does it, feels like doing, he or she has a freedom to do. What is good intention? Does it have a role in a prayerful life? Very simple. Good intention means intention to follow Dharma is a good intention. Dharma means I always intend to do what is to be done. You may not be capable to do. That's a separate thing. Either incapable, either because of resources or incapable to your own mind. But if that intention is there, that I commit to Dharma, to duties, that is good intention. And it has a role in that commitment itself is prayerful living. That intention itself is prayerful living because, listen, when I surrender to Dharma, I do Dharma means I surrender my kartrutvam to Dharma. That means I am surrendering to Ishvara who is Dharma Swarupa. He is embodiment of Dharma. And when I surrender to Dharma, I am surrendering to him. That itself is prayerful. How to appreciate grace of Lord? Swamiji used to very nicely put it. It's graceful to say it's a grace of Lord. Fact that I am saved from adharma, that I enjoy a mind which loves dharma, which wants to commit to dharma, is grace. In fact, grace begins from human birth. Am I a human being? Yes, that's a grace. From that onwards it starts. And all of you, you don't need anything else. The fact that you are sitting here is a grace of God. It's not simply grace. It is shipload containers of grace. To pursue moksha is big grace. That there is a desire for moksha, and that not only desire for moksha, but that you somehow discern that moksha is through knowledge. So convert a mumukshu into jignasu is a big grace. So many spiritual groups are going on. They are all trying for moksha. Even fellow thinking of going to heaven also thinks that he is going moksha. Even a terrorist thinks that he is doing moksha. He thinks that God will be happy if I kill kafirs. That's what he is thinking. Maybe wrong, maybe improper. But he or she is a mumuksha. He wants the grace of the God. But the double standard grace, that's a different grace. But then he or she seeks that. To understand that moksha is nothing but knowledge is a big grace. And to come across a teacher, guru, who in modern days who talk Shastra is a big grace. People don't know that Gita and Upanishad are to be learnt. I am sure when you started classes and you told your relatives, I am going to class. What classes at this age? They will question. and your own children tell you, Mom, you keep studying all these years. What is there? How much time will it take you to study Gita? This is, by the way, this is something so painful to our dharma. There is a neo, our sampradayas, who don't accept Vedas, don't talk of Upanishad. They have huge followings. And you start yoga, you have following. And I am sure Patanjali must be wondering what yoga is doing. I don't know which yoga is talking. All kinds of yoga, wrinkle yoga is there. You don't know those yogas. And there are so many. That's how I pushed this World Yoga International Day. I came to know, I've been working since 2009. All kinds of things. They talk something and they think, in one sentence, today's problem, psychological problem and psychological solutions are taken as spiritual solutions. They don't need Swami, they need psychotherapist. And Swami talks something and that fellow gets some peace of mind. But as I told you other day, Swami, this sentence, he meditated and meditated, became quiet. What's the difference? Formerly he was restless idiot, now quiet idiot. All the way idiot. Psychological things to come across Shastra. Just think of it. How many study Gita and Upanishad nowadays? And they too come across Swami Dayananda. You don't need to ask how to see the grace. Okay, this is the grace. This is ultimate grace. If I use this word, you are chosen one, okay? Chosen. And don't expect any more grace. This is enough. Bhagavan will say, now do Purushartha to study. Yes, please.
Swamiji, one of the most significant initiatives that Puja Swamiji had taken was the Hindu Dharma's Acharya Sabha, and he had really done a great human contribution, and you had played a very important role in that. He had asked you to be his right-hand man to get that done. What I'd like to know is, with his passing away, his Mahasamadhi, what is the status of that program? If you could educate us first on the initial initiative, which many other people may not be aware of, and also update us on the current status of it.
Before I answer, I just like to add one more information. Swamiji was instrumental in establishing Vishwa Hindu Parishad. He had written the constitution of Vishwa Hindu Parishad. And way back then, he and Swami Chinmayanji saw that there are, like those, they use organized crimes. There are organized aggression on religion and culture. And our dharma, see, any dharma can survive and grow if it has a Rajyashraya. These two religions which are flourishing because they have Rajyashraya. There are 80 plus countries. In the constitution they are Christian, including America. There are 68 or some countries constitutionally Muslim. Our dharma doesn't have Rajyashraya. And unfortunately for 700-800 years, Rajas, this Kalakhanda of slavery, when we were ruled by others, deliberately tried to destroy dharma and culture. So there is a need that we have to protect dharma. These acharyas, we have traditions which are so many millennia old. We don't know how old they are, some of them. All of them are doing excellent work among the devotees in the areas. But there is no collective voice of Hinduism. Neither internationally nor nationally. So international groups and nations, and they don't know whom to approach for Hinduism. So anybody having connection is representing Hinduism. And it is so rich and deep, it requires certain insight and study to understand what exactly Hindu Dharma is, or Sanatana Dharma is. So Swamiji thought of this body called Hindu Dharma Acharya Sabha. It is a body of a federation of acharyas, federation of sampradayas, traditions. And the cut-off line is 200 years. A sampradaya, which is minimum 200 years old, only becomes a member. Or some mathas, which are 200 plus year old. But they have a good standing in the society. They are contributing and good, clean image. They are members. Such about 147 members are. And the constitution is not a Swami of Sampradaya is member of Acharya Sabha, only the head is member, ex officio, like United Nations. Country is a member, but citizen cannot come, only the head comes. So all Shankaracharyas, Ramanujacharyas, Vallabhas, Nimbarkas, Lingayas, all of them, these Akhada Acharya Mahamandeshwars are members. And it's basically an advocacy body, strategic body, not activist. Both ways to guide these activist organizations and the government. There are so many in India, including RVHP and all them, RSS, etc. And to guide the government also. And not a fight, but to protest against those policies which are detrimental to our culture, our dharma, our heritage, and implement the policies for dharma rakshana or samskruti rakshana, etc. Both ways. It was started in 2003. Swamiji visualized this after this Millennium Summit. There was Millennium Summit in United Nations. They had invited all religious leaders all over the world for world peace. It's just a piece of information for you. They did a survey that during the last year, 1 century, how many battles took place in the world. They gave the project to Harvard. United Nations was established for world peace. But still wars are going on. They did what they call it in corporate jargon, SWOT analysis. They wanted to know where we failed or what we can do to improve for world peace. And that they can improve only when they know the causes. So the Harvard was given project. And the research paper that they gave them prompted them to have World Religious Leaders Peace Conference. Harvard came out with conclusion of all the wars that took place in last 100 years, 75 to 80% were caused by religion. And all religions say we are religion of peace. They invited religious leaders. And Hindu contingent was the biggest, 300 plus. So, whom to call the Hindu leader, nobody knows. Though Swamiji was leader then, he led the whole Hindu group. But still some confusions as usual. So then he established a Sabha as a collective conscience of Hinduism, an authentic voice of Hinduism, which can advise government on policy or protest on certain policies, and we can position Hinduism properly internationally also. Unfortunately, there are two unfortunate things about Hinduism in the West, outside India. What all they know, they don't know Hinduism through Hindu leader. Because Hindu religious leader never traveled those days. All Jignasus came to India in those days. They met with some Swami. Which Swami, God knows. The Swami did not know English and this fellow did not know Sanskrit. With some interpreter, something, they talk something. And then having come back, he writes a book and people read and understand. It's all confusion. Expect no result and act. Same. It's a lot of misunderstanding of Hinduism because they didn't know what to say. Secondly, in academia also, even in US, Hinduism is taught by Christian fathers and teachers. The Hindu Swamis don't teach. So they don't know. You have to see the spirit, the vision. When you try to interpret the forms, they cannot understand. Why? Like simple thing. Why you worship temples? Why you have temples? A standard statement. Hindus are idol worshippers. And all these three Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christian, Muslims, they say God is formless. And they say you should not worship in idol. And these are all great confusion. We had dialogue with Jews. They have rabbinate like cabinet. It is there in Jerusalem, in Israel. The whole 7-story huge building, Director General of Rabbinate and Chief Rabbi. There are two traditions, Ashkenazi and another Omer. They were there and we had invited them, Acharya Sabha invited them to India. And then reciprocate courtesy, we went there. Unfortunately, when we were to go, Swamiji felt so ill, he just couldn't travel. And then I was to coordinate, and acharyas were there. And one of the topic was about God. Hindu God is with form or without form. And why do the Hindus worship idols? It was this typical U-shaped conference. The Chief Rabbi and our Chief Leader and me, the Secretary General, and this World Council Secretary General were there, and I was asked to talk and discuss on this. I told them, you think that when the Chief Rabbi came to India, the Swaminarayan people hijacked him to their Akshardham. He went there and didn't enter the temple. He says, why? He said, if I come in and stand in front of idol, my position will go. I will be dismissed as a chief rabbi, I will not come. He saw the architect and came back. So strong. Then he asked me, I said, if, I said, please listen, like Swamiji telling to that anchor, slab business. I said, please listen. And if Hindus are idol worshippers, Jews are more idol worshippers than Hindus. All rabbis are huge. There was Director General and Professor Spielberg, and he's a big delegation. All become tight. And then I said, if you are not idol worshippers, we are more not idol worshippers than you. Again, all become tight. I started with a bang. Then I told them, okay, look, emotions are formless. Emotions are to be communicated, expressed. To express an emotion, you require a form. Words are also forms. Gifts are forms. Expressions are also forms. Anger, all Bharatnatyam is what? Expressions. And action is also a form. So, when you relate to Lord, it's an emotion. It requires a form. And I said, pardon me for saying this statement. I said, all over the world, you are known for your patriotism. Very strong patriotic people are Jews. I said, when you salute a flag, is it not idol worship? Every citizen is an idol worship for onlooker. To me, it is just a flag with some star. But for a Jew, Israeli citizen, it represents national spirit. Atma Gaurav, Rashtra Bhava is there. For you, it's not a flag, it's a respect for the whole nation. So when you salute a flag, you are not saluting a piece of cloth. You are saluting the sacrifice in the country whole. And I gave another example. I said, you have this ring business and you kiss the ring. You don't kiss the gold or the diamond over there. It goes to the beloved. Expression of an emotion in this form. I said, similarly, when I do Abhishek on Lingam, you think I am pouring on stone. But for a Jew, salute to a piece of cloth is to the nation, not cloth. For me, it is not to stone, it is to the Lord. When I offer bhoga, it is to Lord. I don't worship idol, we are God worshippers, understand? And you are also not idol worshipper, you are Rashtra worshipper, country worshipper. We have those forms traditionally, so we do it. And by the way, I said I also led this scholars group then. I said I am going to submit the papers. Our God is more formless than anyone else. So clarity about it. I said, not that formless cannot be more or less, but then I said, we are clear about formless. We are not idol worshippers. Guru, please correct the word. Hindus are God worshippers, not idol. When I finished, there is a Professor Spilberg, most authority on Judaism. He said, Swami, come in the valley. I really got frightened. I had said, Swamiji had given me responsibility, and what have I done? I said, did I speak something wrong? Or I was. He just brought me in, literally kissed me in front of everybody. And you know what he said? 2,000-year-old confusion is removed today. And they promised us to correct their vision through God. They have this swastika, and they have lots of problems with that. There is a law. They are pushing the law in European Union that anybody doing this swastika is liable for criminal offense. They don't distinguish our swastika and Hitler's swastika. Ours is clockwise, and that is anti-clockwise. Ours is right angle, that is twisted like this. That also we convinced them. I said, don't travel to India. Don't go to villages. You will have nightmares. Every house has swastika. And please don't look at any marriage invitation. It cannot be without swastika. That also they promised to correct. The point is, Acharya Sabha was established to clarify Hinduism in their mind. Western's world. That's how it started. And of course, we were very strong in our vision about the truth. So Acharyas had their own differences. And the first time after these few years, they stand as a single voice of Hinduism, whatever differences they have. Now they share the dais, they go to each other and work together for certain common issues, like our Gomata is a common issue. Gangaji, Yamunaji is a common issue. It is not only Vaishnavas too. All this world yoga is a common issue. So many things Acharya Sabha does. Now with this change of government, we have good access to advise them to implement proper policies. Now, new thing we have to do, we are doing on this. Hindus and Buddhists are only prey left for these two aggressive fellows. We have to put up a joint front. So we are also working with Buddhism and Jains and Sikhs and creating a larger group which can tell them spade is a spade. Or during this Paris Convention, when they talk about the weather and all that, they had invited, so many issues remain unrepresented. They invited all religion to give their statement. Who will give for Hinduism? Acharya Sabha gave a statement. It was 11-page statement with 28 pages of annexure. And it was so well done. Even Prime Minister quoted from our statement and they accepted few things. So this is how we have to influence the policies. Like this human rights. So they do it is so sophisticated. 63 years ago they had a convention on human rights. India we never knew what is human rights. We knew only human duties. Because we never talk of rights. When you follow the duty, right is given. Ours is a duty-based society. They did a convention and declared a Charter of Human Rights and then slowly pushed to United Nations. And United Nations passed and asked all the governments to implement human rights. And in between added a word, freedom of religion is also a human right. That means we have freedom to convert. That's all it is. That whole draft in the 60th anniversary at Hague Convention, we got it corrected. As I mentioned, it is against human right to convert a person, either through temptation or force or whatever. That was not there. Like that, strategically it's working. And we have been, from day one as a policy, face in the crowd. Okay, we never market ourselves. Including this Ram Setu. The first thing was started because they wanted to break it. Ram Setu, the policy, previous government. And they had already spent some 1,000 crores, but we made sure that they give up the project. Like that, even this International Day of Yoga, yoga was being hijacked. There is a Christ yoga going on. And there are books that Christ taught yoga in India. I don't know what yoga he taught. Conversion yoga, maybe. And they have such a blasphemous. In Bombay, they organized some conference, interfaith. And when the people came out, they distributed books. And the book writes, Krishna went to Jesus to learn Gita. What to say? That is Mauna Vyakhya, you can't speak on that. It's so much of senseless talking. So we pushed that, and then we were quite instrumental in pushing to the Prime Minister, requesting him to do, and of course he is par excellent in implementing the thing, did it beyond our expectations. So that's how it's working. Of late there are 2-3 projects. We have quite few long-term issues. One of them which was very dear to Swamiji, and of course I wish we could have completed before his Mahasamadhi, but it's impossible. Our temples are taken over by government. All over India. And it's a very soft target. What happens, somebody applies, writes to government, there is mismanagement of funds, and they take it. And Hindu, we have this tradition that we can't go empty-handed to Lord. So either we do some Naivedya or cash. And we have these pujas for Rajabhog, these Pratasnanam, etc. Puja you write and give. So lots of money comes to number of temples. It's a very complex issue in a sense. Every state has laws. One general law and few specific laws for a specific temple takeover. Every state they have taken over. Of course, it started with Tamil Nadu, way back in century plus old. And then what happens, the resources of the temple are so much abused, and the wealth. Like, see this, one more thing you should know. When you read this Guruvayur temple and then this Tiruvendram temple, so much of gold and all. See this story of Ramayana. Bharata going to Ramji and requesting him to come, and Ramji giving him Paduka, and Bharata putting on the throne and running the kingdom, is Hindu culture. Raja is called Ishvara, Prabhu. corrupts the person. Absolute power corrupts absolute. But our Raja was told, Raja called him Prabhu, but he was told that this kingdom doesn't belong to you, it belongs to Bhagavan. You are his servant. Ishvara Pritya. So, though he is a king, in others' perception, he looks upon himself as servant. Exactly like, I am not the chairman. This is managing director. I don't know. Therefore, even now we have this custom. If you go to Jagannath Puri, on Rathotsav, the king does the brooming work of the Ratha path. झाड़ू लगाता है, यहाँ से रथ जाएगा. उसकी कहानी है, one of the ancestors was denied a princess. बोला है झाड़ू वाले को कौन देगा लड़की? अभी इंडिया का प्राइम मिनिस्टर झाड़ू लगाता है, झाड़ू वाला तो हो सकता है स्वच्छता अभियान में. And then they fought and married, and then he told, I am like a sweeper. I'm ready to do this work for the Lord. So like Bharata, kingdom belongs to Rama, not me. I'm just managing. And the perquisites of the managing directors are always less than that of owner, chairman. So when Raja had elephant, now you understand South people, the temple also had elephants. Understand? When Raja had this Angaraga, somebody to do this cosmetics, those days Chandanam. So temple has also people to do Chandanam. Raja has this musician to wake him up and sing for him. Bhagavan also has that. Understand? Raja has cooks. Bhagavan also. He has a big retinue. Raja has a chariot. Bhagavan also should have. Raja's chariot may be ordinary, but his is gold. So we have Utsav Murti. Bhagavan goes out in the town. You have seen the festival, and he moves out. Then therefore we call him not Raja, but Rajadhiraj, the king of the king. And that is why even a Grihastha thinks it is not mine, it is Bhagavat. So you offer the things to Bhagavan. Everything. That South temple have riches. Temple have lands, huge land. All these are taken. Madurai temple once upon a time owned some 3,000 plus acres of land. Hardly 304 acres left out. Politicians got into the board and they lease out at a cheap rate. And what comes in hundi, as per one rough estimate, almost 1 lakh crores of rupees goes to different exchequers, Hindu money. The trick is it goes into treasury, where all syntax and income, everything is added. So you don't know where this money is spent. You cannot pinpoint. If they have kept it separately and sent it separately, you can make it out. This Tirupati alone contributes yearly more than 3,500 crores. One temple, of which 2,300, 400 is cash. Rest is gold and jewelry. And every year so much of jewelry, they say, so many kilos, we don't know what is the worth. It may be more. A devotee thinks I am giving it to Lord, but the money goes to Andhra Pradesh government. And they become the temple board chairman, and all political party workers are made board members, and then board has some perquisite. They use temple money, temple computer, temple car for their personal use. In the name of Seva, I have those documents. Our Siddhivinayak, are there people in from Bombay here? How many? This Siddhivinayak temple, Antule was chairman. That chief minister of Maharashtra was dismissed for corruption. And he donated 5 lakhs of rupees for education to Christian missionaries. This fellow thought I am giving to Ganpati, but money went to conversion. And he spent about 10 lakhs of monies for feeding and education. Whom? His constituency, Muslim people. All kinds of misuse. So, we want this back. And no government, state government, every state government has to amend the laws. And once you have a particular, nobody wants to do so. We were working on Supreme Court. And to get a PIL and data and all that, we have filed a case for the last 3 years. And our slogan is Hindu money for Hindu cause. That's my slogan. Give us back. And then what they do, this last Tamil Nadu government changed the ways of prayer also. You should not change Vedas in temple. Change this. Because they are the bosses. How can you change what is the tradition? This is none of your domain. Religious thing, let them follow whatever Sampradaya has. All kinds of problems. Even Rameshwar temple had 108 golden kalashas. When I did Ram Setu work, I know that. At that time when I went there, then the fellow told, now only 52 are left. Where are the rest? Yad Gatvana Nivartante. All gone. So, like that, we are taking long-term projects. And as of now, after Swamiji, the new Acharya team has to come. It was maybe Swamiji's Sankalpa that they all of them unanimously, we had a general body meeting on this last February 19, unanimously puts me in place of Swamiji. So now I will be the convener and managing trustee of the board, and I will have my own team. So they give me so much of free hand that you have treasurer, you have secretary, you have coordinator, whatever you want. So that's a blessings of Swamiji. So now my responsibility is much more. I have to be quite busy after this. And last question, there is no distinction between Hinduism and Sanatana Dharma, just a name. Okay. Over the period, our country was technically called as Bharata, became India and became Hindustan. Not different, just it became so also.